Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
You are most welcome, Chief Secretary, to this hearing of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, which is inquiring on the tragic accident that claimed lives of the former Vice President and 8 others on 10th of June, 2024 at Ntungwa. But before we go any further, we would like you to get to know who is available in this room. We have members of the Ad Hoc Committee that was established by Parliament, and we have members of the Secretariat. So I will start with the members of the Ad Hoc Committee on my right-hand side, far end.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. My name is Beatrice Mware. I'm Member of Parliament for Kasongo North. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, I am George Jefferson Katspatike, MP for the Wakasangats constituency, and I'm also a member of this committee.
Chairperson, I'm Ismail Nkumba, the MP for Blantyre seat in the Mabada Nyambadu constituency, and I'm a member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Mphatso Jones Boti. I'm a member of Parliament for Lilongwe Mude constituency. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Felix Njawala, Member of Parliament, Blantyre, Mwanza Central constituency. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. You forgive me the mask because of the flu, but you know my face, so it's fine. I represent everything found in the Zagasina constituency, and my name is Joshua Maganga.
Through you, Chair, my name is Dides Moses Mbengo, representing the people of Ncheuzo's Mvai constituency. Thank you.
Afternoon, Chair. My name is Mackenzie Palamoto Nkwazi. I'm a member of Parliament from Katabe North, and I'm also a member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Chair, my name is Aveo Kafafa, Member of Parliament for the Zamayani constituency and a member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Dumisane Lindani, representing the people of Zomba Tondwe and a member of this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
Chair, good afternoon. My name is James Mpunga. I present the people of Zomba City South constituency, and I'm also the Vice Chair of this committee.
I will request the leadership of the Secretariat just to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and the honorable members of the committee. My name is Joseph Manzi. I am the Deputy Clerk of Parliament responsible for procedural services. And indeed, I am leading the Secretariat that is supporting this committee in this inquiry. And the whole Secretariat is to your left, Honorable Chairperson. I thank you.
Our distinguished guest, the Chief Secretary, once again, you are most welcome. Just to refresh your mind, the committee was established by resolution of Parliament to conduct a thorough, independent, and transparent investigation. Our mandate is to conduct a fresh inquiry with a view to establishing facts, understanding what happened, and making recommendations to Parliament in the interest of truth, accountability, clarity, and the prevention of future tragedies. In terms of the purpose of why you are here, I will read out the summons that were issued for you to be present in this building. You are here to testify on government standing procedures and practices as follows. Delegation by the President to any person to represent him on an official function and how the same is communicated to the concerned persons. 2, coordination of travel arrangements for a Vice President and determination of the mode of transport. 3, the role that the OPC plays in the procurement of aircraft from the Malawi Defense Force for use by the Vice President. 5, standard practice and procedures governing travel, the coordination of inter-ministerial arrangements, and any decisions, instructions, or approvals relevant to an official trip undertaken by the Vice President. These hearings will be conducted in accordance with the standing orders of Parliament and the laws of Malawi. Committee members will ask questions to witnesses who are obliged to respond accordingly. I remind you that you are protected by Parliament for the evidence you're going to give here in good faith. You'll be asked to take an oath soon, and you'll be required to answer questions truthfully and fully. So may I request, Secretariat, that an oath is administered to the Chief Justice if it pleases him. Sorry, to the Chief Secretary if it pleases him.
That the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Chief Secretary, you may proceed to respond to the summons that were issued to you. Based on your presentation and explanation, members may decide to ask follow-up questions. I give the floor to you to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson of the committee and the honorable members. Good afternoon. I stand before you today in response to the summons issued on my office under Section 9 of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act. I welcome this opportunity to provide a clear context regarding government standing procedures, operational practices, and the tragic events surrounding the Chikangawa plane crash on 10th June 2024. Honorable Chairperson and honorable members of the committee, my intention today is to provide the honorable committee with absolute clarity on how presidential delegations, travel coordination, and asset procurement are handled at the highest levels of government, and to detail the precise logistical realities of that fateful day. 1, on presidential delegation and communication. Honorable Chairperson, let me begin by clarifying the government standing procedures and practices on how His Excellency the President delegates an individual to represent him at official function and how the same is communicated to the concerned persons. These processes are generally follow distinct operational approaches. 1, we have the structured OPC memorandum approach. When a national event requires presidential representation, the Office of the President and Cabinet OPC, through the Chief Secretary, deploys a memorandum to His Excellency the President. The memorandum informs him of the forthcoming function and respectively requests subject to his schedule whether it pleases him to attend as guest of honor. If prior commitments prevent him his personal attendance, the President nominates a suitable representative, ordinarily either the Vice President or a Cabinet Minister. Following this guide, the OPC prepares and dispatches a formal communication or letter to the designated individual, officially instructing them of the assignment and explaining the nature, purpose, and expectation of the role. If the representative is expected to present a gift or a condolence, the OPC organizes and hands it over to the individual. The direct line ministry approach. Alternatively, a ministry, department, or agency, MDA, through its responsible minister, may communicate directly with the President by formally requesting him to preside over an official function within his mandate. If this schedule does not permit person attendance, the President may accept the invitation and designate either the Vice President or the responsible line minister to represent him. Under this approach, the correspondence is primarily direct between the state residents and the ministry. The OPC is not an active intermediary and may only be copied for information purposes. On travel coordination for the Vice President. Honorable members, regarding the coordination of travel arrangements for a Vice President and the determination of their mode of transport, I wish to make it clear that the coordination and the facilitation of travel arrangements for the Vice President, encompassing both local and international trips, fall solely within the mandate and administrative jurisdiction of the Office of the Vice President, OVP, through the Secretary to the Vice President, and this process is managed strictly by the Secretary, who engages and consults directly with the Vice President. The Vice President personally determines and provides guidance on the preferred mode of transport for any given trip. I must emphasize to this committee that the OPC and the Chief Secretary are entirely excluded from these operational decisions and play no role in determining the mode of transport. On procurement of aircraft from the Malawi Defense Force. Honorable Chairperson, this brings me to a crucial point of clarification regarding the procurement of aircraft from the Malawi Defense Force, MDF, for use by a Vice President. Let me state categorically that the OPC does not play an active role in the procurement or allocation of military aircraft by the MDF. And our role in these arrangements is largely passive. Standard operating practices establish two primary pathways for asset requisition. One, formal presidential authorization. The Office of the Vice President is expected to submit a formal written request to the OPC seeking the approval and authorization of the President, who serves as the Commander-in-Chief of the MDF. This request must detail the purpose of the travel and provide a justification for military air transport. Upon receipt, the OPC presents the request to the President, and his subsequent consideration and approval are formally communicated back to the Office of the Vice President and the MDF through official channels. Direct Office of the Vice President and MDF liaison. In practice and operational reality, the Secretary to the Vice President frequently communicates directly with the Chief of Defense on matters relating to the provision and deployment of a military aircraft for official travel. The Chief of Defense then follows the military's own relevant internal procedures to release the asset. While the OPC may be copied for information purposes, it has no visibility, oversight, or active operational role in this specific direct line of communication. Honorable Chair, I stop there. Thank you so much.
That was straight to the point. Members, we heard for ourselves the protocol, the procedures and processes that are used by the Vice President in soliciting support, whether it's acquisition of assets or procurement of travel to any other destination. So I would like members to make any comments if they want to seek further clarification or follow up based on the presentation that has been made. I will recognize any hands if they're available. We start with Dedzamayani, and then Lilongwe Mude, and then Kasungu North.
Thank you very much, Chair, to allow the people of Dedzamayani to ask questions to the Chief Secretary. Honorable Chairperson, I am much more interested with the symbols that MDF uses, and in regard also to the plane. I was very young during the days of Dr. Hastings Kamzubanda, but so I was privileged. At one time, I think around 1992, to see when he was coming on a helicopter. And the only way we knew by that time that it was Dr. Kamzubanda in that airplane or in that helicopter was a symbol of a lion printed on that airplane. So I do also understand that the MDF, they mostly uses that symbol so much because if my memory serves me right, it is a symbol of the commander-in-chief or a symbol of command. So I would like to know clearly how the MDF aircraft are categorized such that according to the practice with those symbols and whatever in Malawi we use the flag and all these others. So I wanted to clearly know if today a civilian person, maybe like myself, I want to use that. How does OPC look at the use of its instruments or symbols of power? And in this regard, specifically looking at the arrangements on the travel of the office of the VP. Chair, if I may be more specific, because according to our laws, the office of the VP is a delegated office, and as such, the use of the other symbols and whatever, it is up to the discretion of the president. So that's my first observation on how it is they authorize such. The next thing I wanted, the second question, Chair, I wanted to know if in your reference, Bwana Chief Secretary, on the standard procurement memorandum, OPC memorandum approach, do we have, is it guided by any established statute, law, or procedures, or any other written protocol that exists? I know people change offices. I want to know if somebody new into the offices, either the office of the vice president or the office of the president and cabinet, will have access to such, or is it just a common practice which is not written anywhere, backed by any written formalities? I wanted that to be made clear to this honorable committee. Thank you, Chair.
Next question, Lilongwe Mude.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. It's a short question, which is basically I'm requesting your opinion, which is basically your recommendation, which you can make to the committee. You have made it very clear to the committee that the Vice President determines his own or her own mode of transport in any given trip. And it's managed by the Office of the Vice President, and the OPC usually just observes. But then you make a very critical observation on page 5 on the formal presidential authorization of the use of the MDF aircraft. Formally, the Office of the Second Vice President is supposed to write to the Office of the President for authorization to use a military aircraft. However, you have observed that frequently the Vice President communicates direct with the Chief of the Defense Force without actually going through the formal mode of request. So I want to ask for your opinion and your recommendation on this. Should we keep the practice as it is, or should we always request the Office of the Vice President to be going through the President in requesting for the use of military aircraft? So you can offer your opinion on it or any recommendation on it. I just want to get it from your office. Thank you so much, Chair.
Now I've got Kasungu North, and then I'll ask the Chief Secretary to respond.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, Kasungu North has got a question, and the question is on the presidential delegation and communication. We have heard that the president delegates. My question is, on this 10th June, was the VP delegated to represent the president? Thank you, Chair.
So, point of order. We have stated that we have not called the Chief Secretary to respond to the incident of 10th of June because he was not in office. That question will be asked to the right officer, the right Chief Secretary who was in office at that material time. We have invited him to explain to us the processes, the guidelines that are there on how the office of the VP is handled. So if I request that that question should be withdrawn and used at an appropriate time when we invite the sitting Chief Secretary at that material time.
Thank you, Chair. Noted.
You have a question?
I have a question, Chair, which I think you were going to recognize me, but without trying to reflect on you, the question which has been withdrawn, the witness has said something about it on page 7.
He didn't make a presentation there because the scope of the inquiry was made very clear. I explained to him. The scope was made very clear, so he limited himself to the scope of the inquiry based on the summons that he received. May I request the Chief Secretary to respond to the two sets of questions that were asked by Lilongwe Moody, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. The first question from Dezamaya, that was from Dezamayan, on the issues of symbols of the aircraft. That can be best handled by the defense. Was it a symbol for defense? And they know what its symbol represents. Therefore, I leave it to defense to handle that one. I'm not a competent authority to talk about symbols in the army. Secondly, on the issue of the memos from the Chief Secretary. It's Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet. Therefore, there are times when issues pass through his office. And as a messenger, he refers those issues to the President, for the President to make a determination. And if the determination is made, whether you do the activity or you delegate somebody, that response goes back to the Chief Secretary, who then writes the relevant person who has been appointed to do the work. It's more or less like a messenger. From Lirongwe Mude, on issues of the Vice President determining the mode of transport. The Vice President normally has liberty, depending on the distance and whatever you can determine to say, this is a short distance, this is a long distance, I may require this kind of transportation. But it is not OPC that gives an okay. It has to be the President giving an okay, because the VP is in the presidency. The presidency consists of the President, the first vice, and the second vice. They are all in the presidency. So the head is the President, and therefore it is always the President that will give a direction in that matter. Thank you, Chairperson.
Zomba Tonde, you have the floor?
Yeah.
You still have the floor?
Yes, Chair, my substantive question was not responded to because I was seeking his recommendation. Because from the presentation that the Chief Secretary has given us, there is a formal way of requesting transportation from military aircraft. And then there is a operational and practice reality where the office of the vice president communicates direct with the defense force to provide the aircraft. So it looks like we have a formal way and then we have an informal way, which is kind of acceptable. So I wanted to request the Chief Secretary to give his opinion, whether we should proceed in this manner as it is being done, or this can kind of bring some confusion, which this committee should know and make recommendations, because at the end of it, we have to make recommendations to government on such issues. So I was requesting for that opinion. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, there's a Kasina.
Thank you so much, Chair. I wanted to supplement, that's why I had raised the hand then. I wanted to supplement Longemude on that one. Hearing the Chief Secretary saying, and I like the honesty in saying the presidency includes the president, the first vice president, and the second vice president as the situation is now. It means they are working in one office under delegated factions, which you are the secretary. As a messenger, you have rightly put it, a messenger to the president. What's the best practice? What do you think is the best practice when it comes to the issues of the accepted means of transport, or air travel or anything, for the president, the vice presidency, and even cabinet ministers? Do you feel we should continue using the informal way, or there should be a formal way? In your own opinion, what's the best practice?
So can we exhaust that question? Chief Secretary, the members are asking for any recommendations, your opinion on any reforms, if you deem necessary, that you would envisage.
Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, my role is to give the facts on what happens. Yes, we can have communication from the OPC, we can have communication from the VP to the President, we can have communication from the VP straight to the President, which is, all those modes are there, but it depends on the gravity of the issue. I'm not here to give an opinion, just to state facts as they are. I'll be wrong to say, no, my opinion should have been this and that. That's not what I've been called for here, Honorable Chair.
Chair, I'm at pains. I got you right when you said you're a messenger in the office of the presidency. And you said the presidency includes the vice president. Because even the secretary to the office of the vice president reports to you as the chief secretary. You are the chief of all secretaries in government. What's the best practice when the VIPs are traveling? The president, vice president, in relating to issues of air transportation. The best practice is to use the informal way or the formal way. It's not about your opinion, but the best practice in civil service.
So the Chief Secretary has answered that he prefers a dual process. He doesn't want the process to be limited or restricted. He's proposing flexibility depending on the nature of the trip or the nature of the assignment that is there. That's what he has stated. So I don't know whether we want him to comment further than that, but you are at liberty, Chief Secretary, to respond to the question.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members. As I said, these three ways, they are normally used, and depending on the nature. Now, whenever a VP writes a memo to the President, that memo is not copied to OPC. It is a direct communication, and is treated as such. The response also goes straight to the VP. Therefore, I can't say this is the best, but it depends on the situation. Thank you.
Follow-up question, Zomba Tondwe, then we go to Blanta Malabada, Ndirande, and then Dowa Kasangazi, in that order.
Thank you so much, Chair. No, when I was going through the presentation, Chair, just to agree with my colleagues, the SPC has mentioned that the Office of the Vice President is expected to submit a formal request, indicating something like what you just said, that it's not always that that formal, it's not confirming that it's always formal. But my concern and my question rather to the Chief Secretary if through the chair, if you would confirm that sometimes this communication, because in this particular case, there's reference to the president's approval. My assumption is that because he's the commander-in-chief of the Malawi Army. So I wanted your confirmation if sometimes this communication is done verbally without formal communication. Just a confirmation. Thank you, Chair.
Blantyre Malabada.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. As I proceed, may I also make the declaration that Dr. Justin Saidi and myself worked in the same office when he was serving as a PS, and I was Deputy Minister of Education, Science and Technology. My question is on the presidential delegation and communication. I would like to find out if there are any written laws governing the practice of delegation, and if the office of the Vice President and the Vice President himself is at liberty to decline such a delegation. Thank you.
Doaka Sangaze.
Thank you very much, Chair, for giving the people of Doaka Sangaze a chance to ask the SPC here a chance to ask questions. My question is related to Blantyre Malabada. I would like to find out if generally the standing procedures and practices are documented. Do we have written regulations for these standing procedures and practices? Thank you very much.
Chief, you may respond to the three.
Maybe, Chair, there might be a few more questions.
No, I don't want to overload you with a lot of questions.
I'll be ready to.
You'll be ready?
Yeah.
Good. Let me take Mwanza Central, and then we come to the Zamayani.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon, SPC. I just want to find out if there are set procedures, safety procedures, when it comes to procurement of transport transport equipment for a VVIP. Are there any set procedures in the Office of President and Cabinet that are followed? Thank you.
Desmayani.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to understand if there are incidents whereby the Vice President or the second Vice President might go on a trip without the President knowing, or the Office of the OPC knowing that the VP or the second VP has gone on a certain trip. I wondered if you can specifically refer to private trips, whereby I mean attending a church function, attending a funeral, or in particular, something to do with the official duties. For example, sometimes the Vice President might be combining with a ministerial position in other instances. So can the VP go somewhere in whatever capacity, either on a private trip or on official duties, without the office of the President himself knowing about that trip? Thank you, Chair.
Chief Secretary, I think you have enough on your table. Can you take those questions, and we may determine if there's another round of questions later.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and the honorable members. The first question was to confirm if at all sometimes the communication is done verbally. That I can't testify, because normally government procedure is that communication is written and it serves as a record for government. Verbal cannot be kept, but we require written communication. On Malabada, on the written laws on delegation of the VP, yes, the Constitution states on what happens when the President delegates. It is his prerogative to delegate any of his choice. But even the Cabinet book also states on what the President should do in order to delegate somebody for a particular purpose. On Doa Kasangazi, standing procedures written. We take the procedures from the cabinet book as well as the constitution, which gives the president powers. On Maza Central, on set procedures on the procurement of transport equipment. Ideally, the president, the vice president, or cabinet minister, they are given vehicles. And it is our assumption that those vehicles will be used for transportation locally. But in some instances where there is need for either speed or what have you, that's when those requests come in. But ideally, we provide vehicles for the cabinet ministers, for the vice presidents to use those vehicles for relevant trips locally. On my own, instances where both the VP would go out without the president knowing, that I can't tell because whenever the VP wants to go out, has to write the president. And that doesn't pass through my office. So I can't tell that there was this trip that this went without the approval of the president, or this didn't write the president. That is a communication between the vice president and the president, or the first vice president, second vice president and the president. So it is communication between the two, which does not go through my office.
Mwanza Central, Longimudi, then Doa Kasangazi, in that order.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. Just to repeat my question, SPC, I was looking at the safety procedures. Yeah, if at all there are set safety procedures when it comes to procurement of equipment for travel for VVIP in your office.
Longimudi?
Chair, my request in a funny way is actually to you, Chair. If you would allow the Chief Secretary to complete his presentation, because I see the other slides that were not presented are actually responding to some of the critical issues that the Minister of Justice actually pointed out in the morning. So I think we could be benefiting from, because I think the Chief Secretary is reporting from the facts that are in his office. So these are the facts that I think would also help us understand what the Minister of Justice said in the morning. Thank you, Chair. So it's my request to you. Thank you.
Doa Kasangazi?
Thank you very much, Chair. My question to the SPC was whether standing procedures and practices are documented. And I am not satisfied with the response that I got because if I got him correctly, he was saying that he gets the standing procedures and practices from the cabinet book and the constitution. Are you trying to say that the standing procedures and practices are documented in a document that is known as cabinet book? I know the constitution of Malawi, but cabinet book, do you have a copy of the cabinet book which you can provide to this committee? Thank you very much, Chair.
Chief Secretary, you may respond. There's a question on the safety procedures that the Mwanza Central is requesting. There's a question on documentation. And then I will give guidance on the Longimudi question. So I'll ask you to respond first.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Regarding safety procedures, each office of the VP, there are security. There are people that handle issues of security and even issues of safety for the president or the vice president. Now, in that, even the transport that we give them is secured. And we are assured that the vehicles are manageable and they will be able to be used in the proper way to reach the destination. But this event is a different event which we have no say on it because it happened, but we are not there. Maybe those that will come after me will be able to explain why. But I can't go further than this. Issues of the facts that you mentioned. If you go to the recording, there's where I stopped. And that is the record that I'm giving this house. Because we advised just to state clearly on the procedures. Nothing more on the 10th. That's why I cannot say something about the 10th. I was not there. I was not the chief secretary at that time. So why should I say that? That's why we have just given you the facts regarding the operational procedures and not what happened. Thank you, Chair.
Zakasena?
I know you're going to make a ruling on what Longemude said, but I wanted to ask the witness, the Chief Secretary, are you the one who submitted this documentation, this presentation?
Yeah, yes, I submitted that one.
Thank you. So, Chair, the witness has submitted this, but has only made your presentation up to page 5. And then we have some information which he has agreed that he's the one who submitted it, but he didn't speak to it. 3 pages.
So you asked me as the chairman to look into the matter. So I'm going to give you direction. Is that okay? That's what I've been asked. So you're following up on the same question that was asked earlier on.
Yes, please.
So I'm going to respond and give direction. Correct? That's what you want. So we're speaking the same thing. So I will give direction on how we should proceed, because the presentation is not complete. But there's a reason why the presentation was not complete, because we confined him to speak to the practice on how the office of the PP is handled. We didn't want him to speak about the incident, okay? But the report captures the incident because there's a record in his office that he has found, that he has captured in his presentation. So there's nothing to hide in that particular manner. He might as well complete his presentation. So, Chief Secretary, there was a reason why you stopped, okay? But we are giving you the freedom to complete your presentation, starting from, was it page 7?
No, from page 6, Chair.
From page 6.
From page 6.
So if you can, in the same manner that you presented before, take us through page 6.
Page 6, page 7, and page 8, Chair.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, the report was conclusive, but then what I was given and what my mandate here is just to state the procedures and not go up to 10th. That will be handled by other people that will go. Otherwise, I will not have answers from those areas where, how did it happen on this day and what have we. So that's why my focus has been on the procedures that you requested. So the procedures end where I have stopped.
Can I recognize first? There's Mayani.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I just wanted to appreciate, in terms of my previous question, I'm just re-emphasizing that there are incidents where ministers, vice president, go out somewhere without communication with the president, which you have replied somehow. But then that brings me to my second question. In terms of governance, you have said you need written communication. Where are we putting the phone calls between the offices? I just wanted to appreciate, because at the highest level of governance, where are we putting the phone calls for the sake of practice, just in case this happens? I may give you an incident, like what I hear about the American protocol. Almost each and every call for official purposes, there are specific phone numbers for official calls amongst the government institutions. And especially if you are calling to the White House, one thing that you should expect is that that phone is being recorded for record purposes. So my question is, in our practice here in Malawi, where are we putting the phone calls and what are our protocols on that aspect, so that tomorrow somebody should not say, you didn't write anything to me, but I will say, I called you. And then you say, I don't have a record of that call. So I'm putting in terms of government protocols and procedures, because that's what I'm looking at in terms of where are we putting the phone calls on official communications as far as governance and authorization of issues is concerned at this moment or in practice. You've been in the civil service. One of the longest serving civil servants is yourself. Thank you very much, Chair.
There's a Cassina. You had a follow-up?
Yes, Chair. Thank you so much. When I asked the Chief Secretary, witness this afternoon, he had confirmed that this presentation, this is coming from you, and he had said yes. Now, to say he cannot speak to it because he will not have answers on a presentation he has voluntarily brought into this committee this afternoon, I find that not pleasing for people of the Zangasina, because he has voluntarily given this document, and then he has chosen to make a presentation up to page 5. If he knew he's not going to speak to the whole bit, he would have just taken out these other pages and give us only this. Now, I will still insist, Chair, that the Chief Secretary, he must read and speak to these 3 pages.
Yes, Lilangamude, is it on the same issue?
Yes, supplementary, Chair. I believe the Chief Secretary got the summons from Parliament on what he will present here, and he read the first slide, which includes page 6, 7, and 8. When you read the first slide, which he read, it includes page 6, 7, and 8. So it is also not pleasing for people of Lilongwe for the Chief Secretary to stop at page 5. So, Chair, we seek your indulgence. Thank you.
That's noted. Lower.
Thank you very much, Chair. I have noticed that the Chief Secretary has not responded to my question regarding standing procedures and practices vis-a-vis the Cabinet book and the Constitution.
So, Chief Secretary, can you answer those pertinent questions that remain unanswered, and then we tackle the other issue on whether you should complete the presentation or not?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. There was a question about issue of phone calls. According to the Malawi Public Service Act, normally there must be that communication, written communication. And if you go even to our Constitution, Section 90, subsection 1, requires written communications. These are records that even after a long period, somebody will be able to go back and see. I don't know, after 10 years, you'll be going back to the phones. On speaking to the other areas, according to the summons, I've stopped where the summons end. The other one just maybe an addition. According to the summons I got, unless a new summon that I also attempted to say what happened on 10th, which is not under my jurisdiction.
Can we address this matter? Chief Secretary, are you telling us that you are withdrawing presentation 7, 8, and 9? Can you confirm?
I confirm. I've just read what is within the summons.
No, I have the floor. So I want you to confirm that you're not going to proceed, but you're going to withdraw 7, 8, and 9 because you're not going to talk about it.
Yes, Chair.
Or not?
I'm not going to talk about it.
So can we proceed in that manner? He has a prerogative to respond to any questions according to the standing orders we have, or not. He's not keen to complete the presentation for his own reasons that he has explained. And there's so much that we can do. We cannot force him to do something that he's not prepared to do. Okay? So it will be pointless, trying to force him to complete a presentation that he's not prepared to make.
Chair, I respect your decision and I respect the decision of the Chief Secretary not to speak to it, but I want to put it on record that page 6, 7, and 8 actually would have helped this committee and the Malawian people to compare what was said in the morning by the Minister of Justice and what the Chief Secretary could have told the committee and the Malawian people. So I want to put that on record, Chair, that it is very disappointing for the people of Lilongwe Mude because they could have heard from the person who is manning the office of the President and Cabinet on what happened, because this is information that is in his office, not something that he just from nowhere took it from. So, Chair, this is a disappointment that we have. Thank you.
Point noted. Can I get Mwanza Central?
Thank you very much, Chair. I also read page 6, 7, and 8. I don't want people out there to have an impression that the information here is probably different from what the Honorable Minister gave us in the afternoon. To me, the narration is the same, and it is a fact, because I've read also 6, 7, and 8. The only difference is that what we have here is detailed. Yeah, probably the minister just gave us a synopsis of what the whole issue, appeared in the report. So, because I think with maybe the way we are proceeding out there, people might think that there is something different. But for me, I see the very same information. Maybe just page 7 has an additional second and third paragraph, just additional information. Yeah, but talking about the very same thing. Thank you, Chair.
You've been speaking. No. I have other members to recognize. It's not only you. But I'm the chairman. So you will go by what I'm going to say, not what you want. All right? So can I start with the Lilongwe Mudi?
Chair, thank you so much for giving me the floor. My point of order is from what Mwanza Central has said. Because if you read one of the slides there, it's quite different to what was said. And for Mwanza Central to claim that it's not different, it's an anomaly. We can read it if you give us a permission, not the Chief Secretary to say, but to read it, we can read it. If
Point of order,
it's
Chair.
different.
Point
Thank
of
you,
order.
Chair.
Point of order.
Yes, Zombatonda.
Chair, thank you so much. I think we are discussing something that has not been presented, and I think if we are to be fair, even ourselves as a committee, we know what we asked the Chief Secretary to say, and it's exactly what is presented. So I think, through you, Chair, I think it's not fair for us to be discussing something outside our scope, outside the SPC's scope at this point in time. I would therefore like us to, in the interest of time, to stick to the presentation, which covers all our concerns and requests as we move forward. Thank you so much, Chair.
Yes, Akasena?
Thank you so much, Chair. I will not, as someone who respects standing orders, Chair, I will not reflect on your ruling in which you have directed that we take out these the 3 slides. But I had a different opinion because in my question, before anything else, I had asked him to confirm that he's the one who presented this presentation, which he agreed it's him, and he did agree that he's the one of the whole document. Now, if we were saying no, he had to end on page 5 based on the summon, my best view was allow him, as he has submitted this document, without withdrawing it. If you want him to come and speak about these 3 slides, a fresh summons this committee can have. He come and speak to these 3 slides. But to completely withdrawing them out, when he had it confirmed in my first question that he's the one who has presented this, to me, I find it maybe against our understanding orders, against the whole essence of this. So to me, I would ask you, Chair, he must not withdraw it, because in my question, it's on record, he has said, yes, he's the owner of this whole presentation. So if you say he cannot speak to these 3 slides, let's give him a fresh summons. We have more days. He can come back and speak to these three, because I have questions to these 3 slides.
Let's cut it to the chest. So, you want to respond?
Yes, Honorable Chair. I already said that what I have said is what is in the summons. What has been left out in the document, there are issues surrounding the 10th. Now, the good thing is that you are not completing with me. There are people that were there available. They are the people that will respond to those issues, and not me. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so I think the direction is very clear. We have summarized it very well. He's not comfortable to talk about the 10th because those were not the summons that were issued. But the members will be keen, will discuss whether fresh summons should be issued to you to come and respond. If you're not able to respond at that time, you also explain why you're not able to respond. But at this stage, we restrict ourselves to the summons. Okay? We cannot force you to speak beyond more than what you're comfortable now. You have restricted yourself to the summons. Okay? We will deliberate, all right, and issue fresh summons if necessary for you to complete the other slides that were not presented. I think that's a fair way of proceeding. So the matter is not closed. Okay? We will revisit the matter. Thank you. So can we conclude? Deza, Mayani, yeah?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for the direction that you have provided. Mine is just a procedure issue, and in terms of the offices, I just wanted the Chief Secretary to confirm to this committee, do you have in your office any records regarding the events on the 10th of June? Any records in your office? Despite that you were not there, but files sometimes still remain there. I just wanted to learn that, Chair. Thank you very much.
Chief, you may respond. Maybe let's take a last question from Dowa Kasangazi.
Thank you very much, Chair. I don't know why the Chief Secretary is skipping my question. It still has not been responded to.
So there's a question, lingering question on documentation of procedures that needs attention, needs your response, and then the other question that has been raised here by Deza Mayani.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and the Honorable Members. I think regarding your question on the procedures, I did indicate that we do have procedures. And those procedures are found in the Cabinet Handbook, as well as found in the Constitution of the Republic of Malawi on issues of delegation. But we do not have separate ones, or as to say, no, when an event of this nature happens, we will do this. No. They are general procedures, not specific to say, if the VP wants to hire a plane, what should we do? But we just follow the protocol that if the VP wants something from the president, that VP can write it directly to the president. That VP can pass to the office of the Chief Secretary, and the Chief Secretary will write the president. Those are the procedures. On records regarding this issue, I've never seen them since I attend my position. I've never seen those documents. Save for I think is it the report of the previous commissions? Thank you, Chair, Honorable Chair.
There's a casino. Yeah, there's a casino.
Chair, the Chief Secretary should put it on record. He's my very good friend. We play together football. I pass him balls to score. But he's a man of his word and integrity. To say he has not, maybe because we have taken out these slides, let me not comment. Because in these slides, he has put it on record that in his office they have some formal documents regarding the 10, not the inquiry. So to say no, there's nothing, maybe because we have kept them for another summons, but he has written them. If you go on page 7, informally on your own there, you see he has put on record.
I thought we had closed this matter.
Chair, I think we
Because
can...
he has made it very clear. Colleagues, it is his right to withdraw something he has not presented. And he has said he's withdrawing what he has not presented. And we have agreed as members, okay, that if we need to issue fresh summons on what has not been presented, we will issue fresh summons. So I don't know, we should not go back and forth on something that we will take action in any case. Okay? At this stage, we leave the conversation restricted to the summons, where he's comfortable with. But it's not the end of the story. Thank you very much.
Chair, much obliged, and we'll follow your concluding. But that's why my plea, which you haven't yet ruled, was that can we not withdraw it? Let's keep it on record, as he had confirmed that this presentation is coming from him. Because the next summons, he will come with a different presentation, not this one. How are we going to compare that he has changed the presentation?
Next summons to whom?
Okay.
I see, Chair, that what I have said, and it has been recorded, is what is in me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that robust conversation, controversial as well. But we appreciate the clarifications you've made with regard to how the office of the VP is handled. Okay, you made it very clear. You made it very clear that it is independent and, and has a direct way of managing processes, particularly with MDF. So there will be follow-up questions on events surrounding 10th of June. You may have a report in the office. Members may want you to come and make a presentation because we're trying to pursue the former SPC to come and testify here. And in the event that we are not successful, we may be looking at you to, maybe provide information based on what was reported at that time. All right? So we appreciate your time, Chief Secretary. You may want to make your closing remarks, and then you can take leave.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. This is all what I had for this committee. Should you need me more, I can come, but the good thing is that I have preempted what is supposed to be done. But now the rest follows. However, we are managing the rest of whether the VP's office or the OPC, those will be in a position to talk more of issues of 10th June. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. You may take leave.
Osaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV Malawi.